Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Diana. Today we are talking about standing and asking for the ancient path. Did you know that God's people have been around for generations? And did you know that we have today, since the printing press, many generations of Jesus followers' words and thoughts about how to honor God, how to learn about God, what His Word says. And most importantly, today for believers, many of us around the world have access to His Word, both in our Bibles or in free Bible apps like YouVersion or online, different Bible programs. Well, listen to today's verse. It's found in Jeremiah chapter 6, starting in verse 16. It says, "This is what the Lord says, stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient path. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and then you will find rest for your souls." He goes on to talk about how the people at that time said, "We will not walk at it." They wanted to ignore the ancient paths. They wanted to avoid the ancient paths. But God is inviting His people, saying, go stand at the crossroads of your desires and the crossroads of God's ways. Go stand in the crossroads of today and history and the story of all of the followers of Jesus and the people of God from history past. Stand there and seek God and ask for the ancient paths. Oftentimes at this point in time, people will talk about things we sometimes call spiritual practices or spiritual disciplines. They're things, postures that we can make. They are activities that we can seek that help us turn our attention to seek God and open our hands and our hearts to His ways. Some of them you may have heard about before are things like solitude, of getting away from your normal routine, to not be distracted by your typical schedule and your typical to-do list, and to create space, not because you're in control of God, but you're saying, God, I want to push the normal of my day aside and make extra room to meet with you, to think about you, to talk with you, to read your word. Sometimes it can be practices like fasting. Rather than indulging in food, you can say no to food for one meal or one day, or as you build up practice for a little bit longer, to say, God, I want to surrender myself fully to you. Fill me with you so I can share you with others where I live, work, study, and play. I wonder if today we would stand and say, Lord, how have the people of God sought you in the past? How have they made space for you? How have they prayed with you? Sometimes when you stand and look for the ancient paths, you can find prayers that you can borrow, whether that's from the Psalms or from Paul's prayers in Ephesians, for example, or from some of these ancient saints of different times of history. You can pray their prayers. Dallas Willard has a great book on spiritual disciplines and spiritual practices that you can look up and start if you'd love to do a little bit deeper dive. But today I want to ask you, are you hungry for the ways of God? Do you even desire to seek them? If so, are you willing to make space in your normal routines to let God fill that and meet you in His Word and by His Spirit? Give it a try, and we'll see you next time.